quilt makers, often I will sneak a sleeve in the binding when I'm finishing off a quilt, just so that I can put it on display if ever necessary on a wall versus a bed. You ready to find out my secret? Let me show you how. And welcome back to Sew Well with Rob Appell. That's me, and I'm super blessed to see all of you out there. Thanks for sewing along with me or finishing your quilt along with me, as it will be today. And I guess it's not much of a secret. A lot of us do this. We will sneak a sleeve along the top edge of our quilts on the back side so that we can hang them. A lot of times a quilt show will require that. More of my quilts are wall quilts than bed quilts anyways, even though a lot of even my wall quilts could be snuggled amongst. So at any rate, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a sleeve in the binding, and I have a whole other video on how I do the machine binding. So this will be kind of a two-part overlapping video series. Check that out for the how-tos on the binding front and back. Right now we're just building the sleeve and installing the sleeve secretly. Not really. Okay, so let's get that done real quick as we'll just set that over there gently. Now, what I've done is I've taken an extra piece from the backing of the quilt, and I have already cut it down to 7 inches because I want roughly a 3-inch sleeve, but I need to account for that 1/2-inch seam allowance. Plus we're going to sneak some up into the binding as well. So we're going to hopefully finish about 3 inches. You can adjust yours larger or smaller if you know what size rod you're putting through it. So right now it is 7 inches wide. I do need to cut it down. I need 60 inches, and that will be the full length of my quilt. But then I'm going to fold in a little bit so I have some space. So I actually cut the prep work of the sleeve to the length of the quilt itself, which is 60. So now I'm just going to come down here and effectively cut off roughly 6 inches as it's folded in half. So I actually want to prepare those folded in edges first. So now I'm taking my short ends and I'm going to fold it over once and twice for a completely finished edge. And now I'm just going to go ahead and run that through with my 1/4-inch seam allowance guide already set up. We'll do that to the other side just the same. As a reminder, rolling to the wrong sides or inside of what'll be. Double fold it. And of course, stitch that side as well. Got a loose thread that's driving me nuts. There we go. We'll put it on the floor. Now, think about what we're about to do here, folks. We want to go right sides together. So we're going to fold this now long ways this away. And I'm going to make this long tube that we will then turn right sides back out. I'm going to back stitch up here because there's going to be a little wear and tear, but that also covered up those other edges. So now everything's nice and secure. And again, securing that other end down here, cutting away any excess loose threads. And we're just going to work it back to right sides out. Iron's heating up. Okay, folks, now here's the next trick I really want to share. I don't want to press this seam I just created right to one edge. I actually want this seam to be hidden completely in against that backside, right? So I'll take this and I'll just sneak it right in there so it just hides itself away. So as we go to the iron, I'm just going to let it sit roughly with that seam in the half, and I'm just kind of letting the seam itself on the inside fall to one side. I can kind of feel that with my iron. And like I said, because it's hidden, this won't have to be perfect. This is just going to keep it up and out of the way. This next part is the most crucial, maybe even the most crucial of all. Make sure you know what side on the back side is your top side so that you're putting your sleeve where you want it to be hanging from. So I'm going to look through here real quick and evaluate. This is where I want my quilt to hang from. So now I'm going to rotate it so I'm looking at it. Take my sleeve to be, and I'm going to split the difference between the two edges to make sure it fits nicely in the center. Then I'm going to make sure that I have the seam faced down. And because I'll be putting my binding right along this edge, I'm going to take some pins now and I'm going to secure this sleeve, but I'm going to pin more on this lower edge so it's not in the way of the sewing foot as I come through, and I'm catching that. So I'll work my way down every few inches. And the reason I'm not securing the binding and the sleeve all at the same time is I want to be able to corner first for the mitered corner on the binding, and I'll be showing you that in that other video on how to bind your quilts. So for the first run, like I said, yes, I'll be securing this top edge all by machine as I capture it with the binding as seen in that other video. And now again, as I'm top stitching along the edge of that binding, I'm going to come down and I'm going to go into it a few stitches and then I'm going to back up. After that's done, we come back in here and we will need to hand stitch with a matching thread this edge to the back side of the quilt for security. And I'll actually show you that trick here now. So once all of the binding has been secured by a machine, it's time to get back in and finish the whip stitching or the hand stitching, if you will, on our sleeve. Now, folks will like to do this either way. I'm fairly right-handed, so I'm going to start up at this upper top edge for myself here. And it's going to take me several different runs of thread. So what I like to do is I'm going to actually use the same thread that I was sewing it all down with, pulling it straight from my machine just so I can kind of keep nice track of it. Now I'll thread myself up a needle. And for me, I like to double up my thread so I never lose my needle. So I'm going to pull off roughly a yard's worth of thread. Actually, it's 2 yards now because it's going through both sides. I'm going to cut it down at the eye of the needle just so I know it's still down there. Bring my threads together on the end, tie off a knot. I'm going to use this knot as the back end loop of my other knot I'm forming, so I want to make sure it's a good knot, not just a loose kind of squirrely knot. This is a good one. This is going to hold it all together. Come down here and I'm going to start actually inside the back of the quilt, and I'm just going to come out, and as I come around, I'm going to bring my needle up. I'm going to find that loop of thread, bring it back around, and begin whip stitching it all the way down. From this point on, I'm just going to kind of use my thumb and finger to keep everything down nice and flat, and I'm going to go down a little ways. When I say a little ways, maybe a 1/4 inch or less, and I'm going to continue this same whip stitch motion all the way along the back. Every few inches I will tie a knot to secure, just in case the threads come loose, they get caught in a situation where the pole starts to rip through or whatnot. However, the way this is made, the pole can actually slide into our machine stitch sleeve and not rely on this hand stitching here to finish it off. So this will take me quite a while. I might even turn on the television, watch some more Sew Well with Rob Appell, and enjoy even my greatest of videos. Let me know what I can do to teach you and help encourage you to continue your sewing and quilting journey right here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me for this awesome sneaking a sleeve into a quilt video, and I will see you real soon. Think about those Scrap Masters Fridays. Don't forget subscribing. Thanks for being here. Please stay well.